Episode commencing in 3, 2, 1. Episode initiated.
Welcome back, corporate cronies and ski bunny slopers, to another hot cocoa and rum-filled episode of Cosmic Crit. This is your chalet valet, Patrick here, welcoming you to a special episode this week, as joining me is not the full crew of the Drift Rider, but two business-minded baddies and savvy conglomerate CEOs in the form of Myles, Andrew, playing Rami, and Gnak.
Hi-oh.
Yes.
Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, we're recording on a weird night, and it's just the three of us. Who needs
We can make it if we try.
other three? So yeah, this week's episode's a little different, a little nice and cozy. What do you call it when there's three of us?
I call it
a throuple.
Brosy. It's brosy.
It's some brosy in here. Yeah,
Three amigos.
three amigos. You guys.
It's almost like we used to do this every week.
I was about to say, we've talked the three of us way too much on podcasts throughout our history, but you've both been talking about doing a Crit Pit kind of episode stinger with just the two of you, talking about your characters.
So initially we had, and we just never did this, but we had this idea to do a bunch of infomercial commercials.
We just haven't done it yet.
and have them at the end of the episode, or of us pitching things like a space QVC.
There'll be time in the future for that, but yeah, it didn't quite click that we had a single idea for that. But now that you guys are resting, there's a little bit of downtime. I had an idea for a potential special story, and yeah, that's what I want to do this week. That I didn't have this idea until last week when you were talking about it, and I was like, after the starship combat, I was like, this makes sense. We could probably do this now. Are you guys ready to jump into it this evening?
Oh yeah.
This is after you've of course finished exploring the Civ ruins on Edrass. Myles Rami was able to defeat the ancient alien virus that seemed to infect the technology here, and it was somehow negatively affecting the weather on the planet as well. And Gnak has been absorbing the Civ language the entire time. And after you guys blasted a few drones out of the sky, you've been afforded some well-earned downtime. And we catch up with your characters this week as the liaison of New Horizons Resort, Mr. Johnstable Handswaggle, leads you to your executive suites.
Is Johnstable a constable?
No, but he's a long line of Handswaggles they're like butler kind of people. And he, of course, knows who you are, Gnak. He says, "Oh, Mr. Feldspar, Mr. Quinn-Darr, I just want to say that I'm a big fan of your work. The Trivid, The Empire of Bone Strikes Back is one of my favorites. Do you guys really take down the corpse fleet and save the universe like the movie says?"
Well, we had help.
Yeah, of course, you got the muscle and all that, but it seemed like you guys were really the ones leading the way. Had all the good ideas.
Well, it's really a team. Even though we might have the good ideas, we may not have the muscle, we may not have the strength, we may not have the aim. But the Drift Rider crew, we were a good team, and well, I say we are a good team. It's so good to be back with these guys.
Yeah, it's great that you. Is this going to be the subject of your next movie, or is it going to take place on Edrass? Do you think you'll shoot on location here?
NDAs. It's a non-disclosure agreement. I don't know if you know what that is, but our lips are sealed.
I don't. Wow, that's awesome. And what have you guys been up to since then? Do you both work for the Starfinders still? Rami, what have you been doing?
Well, we do some stuff for the Starfinders. It's good to keep our images associated with them. And, they're kind enough to let us use their name and logo for virtually all of our stuff free of charge because, hey, they're good like that.
It sounds like the Starfinders endorsement is kind of like our partnership with Paizo.
Exactly
we can use their logo. We get to play all their games we want. Take their starships out for drive.
I'd like to think that Rami and Gnak worked out a better deal, but
yeah. Well, not only that, but like, I mean, I figured like no one's going to press us because we kind of saved the universe. Just a little universe saving, and people tend to treat you a little different.
We make the Starfinder logo look good. The Starfinder Society, they help us out.
Yeah, you guys can reflect on that as you're walking towards a suite of cabins, kind of on the side of the mountain. Gnak, you have taken over the Absalom section of Feldspar Co., which is kind of like, I imagine, the New York City offices for like a huge international corporation. It's definitely a major headquarters, if not the headquarters. But in addition to that, you got to take over the former Fusion Queen. What else do you think Gnak's been up to in the meantime? We've talked about doing, brand licensing for your characters. There's obviously merchandise for the Drift Rider crew. Anything else you think your character's been doing?
Well, really, it's not just what my character's been doing, because Gnak has found kind of a new friendship with Rami, and in a sense that if you go back to season 1, I mean, if you go back to season 1, at least for a while there, nobody liked Gnak.
Well, did your characters?
Nobody liked Rami either.
Did your characters ever even talk?
Yes.
I don't think the entire season they ever had.
Once the family stuff started coming up, Rami and Gnak started to kind of warm up to each other, because I remember specifically a moment where Gnak came up to Rami and was like, "I know how difficult family stuff can be." And
I mean, neither of you were business bros back in season 1, which is
no. I mean, Rami actively had nothing to do with the business. He was on the run and virtually penniless,
and same with Gnak. I mean, he had his sister had emptied his accounts, and he was kind of on the outside of things, but through that, sort of realizing that as different as they could be in the moment on stuff, they have a lot of shared experience and shared history.
You've made trivids about the exploits of the Drift Rider crew, which, I mean, if you guys want to like name episodes of a long series of movies, or I don't know, maybe they're just like hour-long specials, you can. But Gnak is the one that came out as kind of the voice of the group, one might say the face of the party, and has probably garnered the most fame out of it. How do you think Gnak has felt going from, ducking debtors and family obligations to being more recognizable now than even Edrass was years ago?
It's interesting to think about Gnak with that, because he was so in hiding because he didn't know who he could trust and all of that. But now I think he sort of realized that, if people know your face and they know your reputation, you can kind of use that as a bargaining chip in different negotiations. And it's anytime it's like, imagine a big business meeting where someone is trying to go against him. It's like, yeah, but I did save the universe from the corpse fleet and the stellar degenerator, and you've seen the movies, but I got all this, and he pulls out Robob, and I got all this on tape.
Oh, I've been in your pocket this entire time. Oh gosh. Do you have like your own portable? Is Robob now just like a style of camera drone that you've marketed? You've got like Robob 3.0.
Yeah, it's really just a shell that you can kind of, it's like a case for a phone. You just put that case on your camera drone and it makes it look like Robob.
Myles, let's talk about Rami for a little bit. You've had plenty of time to relax, reconnect with your family, and spend time with Lena Javon. What have the past few years been like for you? You've got to settle back at home?
Yeah, so Rami obviously, he got into the business, but also, Verces was a little bit of a mess when he left, with everything that happened with the cult and his parents being, controlled. And so he did a lot to kind of help push Verces in the right direction and kind of make it a little bit more of a utopia. And not only that, like, yeah, he started to embrace the business. He turned himself into a brand, which is the exact opposite of what he was in the first season. Because, you know, for him, I think part of it was not only just figuring out who he was, but also kind of embracing the fact that his family was what they were. And so in turn, instead of treating it like a cross to bear, you know, he revitalized the company and turned it into something that he stood for.
Mm-hmm.
With a little help.
Well, yeah, obviously. But I think that's the one thing is, like, once the Dead Sons campaign concluded, I feel like Gnak and Rami both, when they were kind of, because they both had their very similar storyline in terms of like how they came, you know, back into their running their own companies for their family. And I feel like there is certainly a kinship that developed, not just that, because I think those two would be the ones that talk. They're doing business. They're going to be in similar rooms anyway. And so I think it was just natural that those two became closer after the campaign and ending up in very similar spots.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, of course, with their both their creative minds and Gnak's like business sharpness, I feel like, you know, yeah, the first thing they did was, you know, license their adventures for comics and movies and holo games and you know, everything like that. And
Cosmic Crit the comic sounds, it's got a ring to it.
It does.
Cosmic Crit Comics.
If only we would get sued to oblivion if we tried to do that. But yeah, so I feel like Rami is in the first time that he can really think of is in probably the best place he can be.
Mm-hmm.
And so coming back to the Drift Rider crew, at least for Rami, I mean, yes, he wasn't as close with Alyndra and, you know, Edrass. He wasn't really close with anybody at first. And I think, you know, he grew to love all of them. But I feel like at the end of that campaign, you know, Gnak was the one that he kept up with the most.
Do you think you'd spend some time trying to rekindle a relationship with Lena, your former?
Oh, yeah,
live?
no, that was absolutely something that probably would have happened. I mean,
but then you're just back out there adventuring again. With,
I mean, there's a lot going on, and I honestly didn't have a lot because, you know, she went missing, and so I think a lot of it was for those few years was her trying to kind of get back that time that she lost. You know, she's doing things as well. Because she was a pilot. She did her own thing.
Yeah, she's you know, she's helping out, I'm sure, with business matters as like consultant, perhaps. For the most part, a lot of, I think, business decisions your parents used to make, they might have been locked out of for a number of years while like things got settled out of court with all the problems that came up with their kind of being not complicit, but being under the control of the corpse fleet's machinations. So very easily you could have stepped in and take over their shares on like board meeting votes and things like that. But we've talked a great deal about your guys's adventures together in corporate Starfinder worlds. Like what do those in your minds look like? I think one of the trivia questions was the what planet did you have an adventure on? It was like a Leofaran moon, I want to say, but I forget. Yeah, are you doing like espionage or corporate takeover kind of things, do you think? Is there business dealings?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, because, you know, for Rami, because that's what he wanted to do anyway, now he's got the resources and the funds and the recognition that, you know, he doesn't always have to sneak around. He can kind of pull that kind of very similar to Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man, you know, just kind of show up with a soundtrack booming and his bright costume with his logo on, you know, just like, you know.
And fix all the things that the corpse fleet had kind of spoiled with the business. And well, Gnak, you don't have like majority control over Feldspar Co. You can still get out there and represent all of its interests. And that's
the other thing about Feldspar is that they were in the background. They were doing just dirty dealings. Like you didn't talk about even the name of the company for the long time. And now they're backing things publicly for the first time really ever. And it really helps if you have one of the sons of the company, one of the sons of the owners that is out there saving the galaxy and getting to do that with a Feldspar stamp on it.
Well, it is interesting that like Feldspar Co. was a black market kind of organization that is now going good, and the good company Quinn-Darr, at least the public facing one, is the one that was actually, you know, full of spies and doing some very bad things on planets like the one that Rami exposed, and a similar planetoid Jeterat where they've been for many years doing wide scale climate change, you know, to terraform a planet. That's how we kind of tied in this season to your characters. This operation, I think maybe the majority of shares are indeed under Feldspar Co.'s, your sister's branch of the company, but you know, you're still able to come out here and protect like the total corporate interest. But yeah, do you think, Gnak, another reason to summon everyone, get the old crew back together again to head out here? I don't know if your characters have all been together for probably a couple of years before this, so
I feel like they you know, every once in a while, obviously, you know, we talked about Gnak and Rami, but I feel like every once in a while, you know, Gnak might text Alyndra, and Alyndra takes 2 days to respond because she's you know, reading too much stuff, and you know,
she's in the jungles of Castrovel and doesn't have a cell phone, doesn't have planet-wide comms, I guess.
Go get a drink with Edrass and see what's going down, and I think all of us probably independently have looked into what Andis 148 has going on because we were so attached to 147.
Mm-hmm. He's been raised by Goblin, so he's had a lot of adventures here and there as well in that time. And most recently, you heard he was running around, or they were running around naked on Akaton.
We gotta cover that up. literally
yeah.
And metaphorically.
Who do we gotta pay off?
but for Gnak to get everybody back together like this, I do think that there's kind of two sides of the coin, and that you do one thing and you talk about it one too many times, it doesn't have quite the same impact as it used to. So I do think that there's sort of two sides of Gnak's coin, is that he's very used to the fame that he has gotten from all of this. But as part of that, as he sees that star kind of twinkling out, he wants to reinvigorate things and get everybody back together and go on another big adventure, not just for fame and profit, but because he likes all these people, and on some level, I think he still feels like maybe he has something to prove that to everybody, that like if he could prove it to Rami that Gnak is a good guy and worth being a friend with, he can prove it to Alyndra and Edrass and this new baby Andis.
Yeah, I imagine if you don't save the universe, though, every couple of years, do you think Gnak is worried that people might forget their name?
Oh, 100%.
Edrass used to be a huge name after you guys took on the Drift Rock and became famous in the fighting pit of Eox, but for the most part, people have forgotten about him years later.
It's one of those things where being in the corporate world with Gnak, it's like, oh, we had a really great year this year. Well, you have to have an even better year next year, and an even better year next year. You have an even better year next year, else your stockholders are going to pull their funding, sell their shares, leave you out in the dust.
Myles, as you looked into this project, as maybe Gnak tried to get the team together, it looks like the Corpse Fleet was planning something very similar here on Jeterat as with some of their other locations where, they were looking to set up a colony here and kill people to kind of make more soldiers, make more members. I mean, kind of like living zombie brains to work on their ships, more dark experiments from them. But perhaps for whatever reason, when they started here on Jeterat, it looks like they just chose like an easier planet later on. But if you weren't around and exposed their plans elsewhere, this planet could have been a very similar kind of tarnishing point for Quinn-Darr. I mean, multiple planetoids could have. I think you realize that as you go through some of the information on the terraforming process. Do you think part of your time in the last few years has been maybe bringing more of things like that to light, more exposés?
100%. When I was writing some of the stuff for Rami, part of it was to kind of uncover, because Rami is not an idiot. He knows full well that there will still be cultists working towards a certain goal. And, just because they took down, everything doesn't mean that certain little cracks didn't stick around,
It's and the problem having such a huge corporation is that all it takes is a couple of spies or something in a few key positions, and they can really move some weight around,
Yeah, and a lot of his time was dedicated to trying, at least in the resources that he had available to him, in the more obvious sectors, track down those things and either change them or get rid of them. And yeah, so he's still been on the lookout for other cells and other outfits like this.
Doesn't look like the corpse fleet touched these ruins that you've examined, but it is nice to see it for yourself. The planet's terraforming seemed to have gone pretty well. It's a nice snowy retreat. And as you walk inside here and get settled in the hallway, Mr. Handswaggle says, "Oh, you guys can reach me on comms day or night. We don't have any of the 5-star chefs having reported yet to work, but we're still phasing in the kitchen staff, and we have some people here that can make some very delicious things a la carte, flown in from flash frozen from the finest dining establishments on Castrovel, the moons of Liavara." He'll open the door and bring your stuff inside and says, "I'm sorry, we don't serve though any Ekatonian egg salad sandwiches here."
Hey,
the movie.
Hey, as long as I don't have to sense motive on any of what you serve us, I'll be just fine.
No, none of it's poisoned. Not any of it. Anyway.
When you say it like that, can I sense motive on him right now?
I want to sense motive on all of him. He seems like a pretty nice kid. I don't know, he's like 27. Human kid. You guys, hot tub here, fully furnished trivid and holographic amusement chambers. There's a shooting range of athletic equipment and like its own little room. You probably have like a pickleball court or something. I don't know what rich people play. What does Gnak and Rami do to unwind?
Gnak would sit down and look at the numbers, look at the daily numbers, all of the numbers, and just make sure everything is ticking up. Make a note of what's ticking down and seeing if there's anything that he can do or any emails he can send or space emails, vid mails, whatever they call them in Starfinder.
When you guys are at, who's in charge of the rumpus room? Do you have like a number 2? in
Who does number 2 work for?
I didn't even think about who's running the rumpus room while this is going on.
Need to make an NPC.
Yeah, I'm trying.
In charge.
Wasn't there someone that we had tagging along for a little bit that Edrass saved?
That was Raukawi, and she's
not
on
rumpus
his
room.
ship.
Yeah, she's not rumpus room.
Material.
It's got to be somebody that Gnak has hired that was like, one of the bouncers or like the daytime custodial engineer.
What was that?
Maybe they hired a certain uplifted bear to tend bar.
Yeah, that's a perfect job for him.
You'd hate living on Absalom Station, though.
He probably would, but
they got a big green Central Park kind of area.
I don't know. That's something we need to return to after we put a little more thought into the best possible pun name.
Think about it. Mr. Handswaggle is happy here. Otherwise, he'd be like, "I will take the job." You guys get it. You guys get a great night's rest. I believe your poisoned condition does go away, Gnak.
Yes.
And you're able to suit up and go out into the cold the next day after you get a good night's sleep. And yeah, you pass by Edrass, who's deep into a robotic massage, getting around his heavy scaly hide. And Alyndra, I imagine, is relaxing in the library with some Castravelian floral tea, maybe a data pad. And
as Gnak walks by Edrass, he points out, check it out, and points at his tail. Tail blade's back on.
No. Oh, good, says Edrass. Finally. The team didn't feel assembled without the MVP. Tailblade. Andis is outside building a snowman. Cattywampus is like sticking out the top of it like he's the head. He'll crawl up on top of 148 shoulders. Yeah. Do you guys have any other relaxation plans for the day? Does anybody want to do some skiing, hitting the slopes, maybe go swimming?
I know that, I mean, obviously in season 1, Remy had a penchant for spirits. So I would imagine that has carried on. But now that he can afford some really good stuff, his way of unwinding is having a very nice bottle of obscenely expensive and rare alcoholic beverages.
Mr. Hansweigle comes up. It's like, oh, look, there's my entire annual salary in that bottle. I'll get you some more ice, sir.
Hey, get yourself a glass. Come on.
Oh, yeah, that'll pay my rent. As you guys get back from a long day of unwinding, gets to your suite's hallway. As you're getting to the door, a familiar voice calls down the hall. That of Lyda Lantral, a camera bot, Robob 3.5 hovering behind her. Oh, please, Mr. Feldspar, Mr. Quinn-Darr. My audience is just dying for an interview. The news that your crew of the Drift Rider is back together. The footage, your ship destroying those drones in less than a minute. It's all too much. You got to give us something about your mission. What are you guys looking into?
Look, I understand that people follow us pretty closely. Sometimes we wear our hearts on our sleeves. We show off some things. And sometimes we can't really talk a lot about what we're doing. Just we're under some agreements to keep things just for our personal safety under wraps. But I tell you what, you ask us, I'll give you 3 questions. I'll answer the ones that we feel comfortable answering. How about that?
Oh my goodness. I mean, yeah, I would love to sit down. Can I come into your room? Do you have time now?
I think we've got a few minutes. Come on.
All right. As you guys return home here inside your suite, you see indeed it has all the amenities going for you. A roaring holographic fireplace, a relaxation pod ready for you. There's a business suite and office to the side, full bedrooms in the back, and of course, no suite in a hotel would be complete without a huge, mysterious, floating purple orb in the middle of it that seems to be radiating some kind of glowing mist.
Was that on the brochure? Was that in the brochure?
It was not here when you left. And yeah, as you go inside, Lyda Lantral is like, oh my, I'm definitely too poor. I don't know what that thing is at all.
Yeah, I understand that you have that reaction. This is absolutely totally normal, but maybe just give us 5.
They busted out the purple orb. As you maybe move over in its direction or look at it, pondering it, perhaps, this orb, it speaks out psychically into your mind saying...
That meme is going to be so tired by the time this comes out.
Yeah, we are cutting edge memery. I don't know, it's all over the D&D TikTok still. It psychically says to you both, blowing bong bling blong bing bong blowing bling bong bling. It's speaking Orbeez, which, is that on your list, Drew? I don't think so.
But can I roll a culture check to see what I can decipher?
Well, what you can both do is roll me initiative checks.
Oh, no.
I didn't think we were getting out of this with me trying to kill you. There's no Edrass or Alyndra here to save you. It's just the two of you.
Just a week ago, there was no Edrass or Alyndra to save me because everybody was confused, and Gnak was the only one attacking the enemy.
Yeah, so you're probably fine. You're probably fine. Let me show you. I mean, I don't know if you need to see what a giant purple orb looks like. Oh,
that's what a giant purple orb looks like.
This is from the Alien Archive. It's just literally a giant purple orb of energy with like a purple mist underneath it.
When you said the words, they just didn't come together. But man, seeing the picture,
that is a giant purple orb.
It's worth a thousand, Patrick.
And I've rolled a natural one on initiative, so you guys will get a good amount of action first. But it has moving kind of closely to it. I need you both to make me a will save. Will save for its astral mist.
Boom, baby.
Oh, natural 20. I'll make one for Light of Lantrail.
Oh, no.
5 on the dice for Myles. Light of Lantrail is pretty good. But as you get closer to it, starting the turn, Myles, this thing is like a crazy light show that you've not seen before. And you are starting with the fascinated condition. You are straight fascinated by whatever this thing is. And
pretty.
You're entranced while you have the condition. You just stand quietly, take no actions, and other than looking at the thing with the effect.
I have a question, Patrick.
Yes.
Does this episode take place after we've leveled up to level 13?
Level 14, but yes.
14? Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, you guys have some new abilities. You're fully rested, and let's get into this combat. Gnak, you see Rami go from like fighting stance to just like dropping his arms and staring at the pretty orb. What would you like to do?
Rami, don't quit. Rami is now no longer fascinated until the beginning of my next turn.
What is don't quit?
Don't quit is as a standard action, you can signal a single ally within 60 feet. That ally ignores one condition of your choice until the start of your next turn, choosing from a very long list of conditions, fascinated being one of them.
At this high level, it's like any condition,
yeah.
basically. Okay. And is that a move or standard action?
That is a standard action.
Okay. You gotta move.
But because of that, I can also say, and while you're at it, get him.
Alyndra is like, I don't have a weapon, but I will film this. What do you want to do, Myles?
So I'm trying to think. This orb, purple orb. Can I roll mysticism to kind of figure it out?
Yes, this is indeed an aberration, which I believe will be mysticism.
Okay. Oh, I saw it want to be 18. So bad.
Be an 18.
What did you roll?
24.
I think you might have heard about indeed sapient purple orbs in the Pact Worlds. They are extremely rare, but the ones you've heard about are like basketball sized. This one is like 6 foot diameter. It's huge. It's like a coffee table.
What is a basketball? Gnak asks.
It's a ball that fits in a basket. There are baskets and there are balls, so that counts. Like a hand-woven basket.
Would Rami know possibly some of its basic properties, like what the right attack would be for one of these guys?
I will say, I don't. Well, you've rolled enough for the base ones. Let's just double check. I think you know that they have like void adaptations because they are just like found floating in space sometimes. So perhaps would be immune to cold. I don't know if you have any cold weapons, but not cold weapons.
Okay. So I guess also, would he know how to contain one? You said they're rare, which I would take to mean they could possibly be valuable.
Yes.
And one of the things that Gnak has kind of helped him realize is that you should never overlook an opportunity to make some extra money.
Okay, so what would you like to do?
Well, I would like to try to devise a way to see if I can get this thing maybe unconscious or prone so that we could, make use of its rarity.
Okay. Well, I don't know if you have any spells to do that, or you can just beat it up till it falls unconscious. That is also always an option.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to imagine it's not going to get one-shotted by this. So I'm going to go ahead and use my artillery laser.
Blast. Go right ahead.
And hopefully... Wait. Or no. Sorry, not my artillery laser. My X-Gen gun. Sorry.
Oh.
With the Ghost Killer Fusion.
A cack attack.
Well, are you going to roll? Come on, roll 20.
Sometimes Roll20 struggles with the amount of dice that we have at level 14 combat.
There we go. Well, I assume they're both hits. One's at 35, one's 39. We'll take whichever one you want.
You have a quick draw?
I do.
Then 2 attacks, and these include your...
So I didn't mean to roll 2 attacks. The dang thing stuck. And
all right, if you want to just do 1 attack, then yes,
just
35.
Just
definitely a hit. 46 points of damage.
Yes.
All piercing. And yeah, it just goes plop, plop, plop. These bullets ripping through its kind of like energy field. It does seem to take physical damage. That will move us to its turn. And I think because you did the most damage here, it is going to attack. Oh, Rami, can you make me a will save as it gets inside your mind and starts going bling, 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 bling. Yeah,
rolled the same again.
Nothing but natural 5s for Myles.
Oh man,
that is a fail for a level 4 mind thrust. Not a lot of damage. It's just 10 D10 damage.
10 D10?
It's so much. Bloop. Let's see if Roll20 wants to roll these. Oh, goodness gracious. 57 points of damage. And with a level 4, you are fatigued for 1 round as well. Fatigued as the condition. That is going to be its turn, though, and bring us back to Gnak.
Can I attempt diplomacy with this thing?
Why don't you make me...
I've already shot it, so it might not be super.
Why don't you make me a culture check and see if you can figure out any bits and bobs of this language. It's going to be difficult because it's a very rare race or species or entity.
So that's a 34 plus... so it's a 39.
I don't think that's going to be enough to figure out, enough to communicate here in the midst of battle, but I think you probably got from its first speech that it was shouting, something at you. It was a fairly hostile voice calling out. Yeah. What would you like to do with your turn here?
Just rested, and now I got to spend all my RP again. So I would like to say, get him one more time. Rami, come on, get him. And just don't quit. But with don't quit, if I spend an RP, I can permanently remove a one of the things, assuming that I'm allowed to remove it, because there are some things that I'm not allowed to remove because of like just the status, and that just to remove the fascinated condition.
Sure. Okay, so doing that, do you want to move away from this thing as well?
Yeah, I can't, because if I use my move in my standard, I cannot do anything.
Okay, Rainy, back to you.
Okay, so Rami's a little hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So he's gonna go back to just trying to light this thing up. At this point, a rare item is great, but also, breathing is better. So he's going to take another shot at this thing. Actually, yeah, he's going to take another shot.
Single shot.
Yeah, single shot at this guy, or this thing. And roll 20. Come on. That's gonna open. Oh, never mind. That is a miss, I'm assuming. It's 23.
3 on the dice. Is this against KAC?
Yes.
It'd be a 25 with get him.
With get him, that's a hit.
Oh, good. 32 points of damage.
Okay, it is bloodied after that, I believe.
Oh, good. After all the hurt it put on me, it deserves to be bloodied.
I can do math here. What, you've done 78 points of damage. What's 78 times 2? 156. It is like exactly bloodied. Very close there. Okay, so excellent. And do you want to move away from this thing as well?
Yes.
Move back, take some shots.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm gonna move back probably a good chunk.
It's going to then blast, I think. We're going to blast at a Gnak Feldspar with a attack, and you see the single large orb inside of it kind of floating many smaller orbs, the size of balls that could fit in baskets, that kind of like form out of the center and swirl around, making kind of like a holographic display that blasts you with a range attack from afar. Boom, 17 on the dice. Those hits. And this is 2d8 plus 11. 18 points of damage. What kind of damage are you? Memory damage? It's against EAC as a mind affecting force effect. So force damage. Make me a will save.
So 24.
Nice.
Let's see here. The DC for this ability is only 20. So you are not stunned by the attack, but you get a rush of memories as it's kind of like inside your brain. Maybe some of like the worst memories of being on the run in Absalom Station, getting hounded by loan sharks and muscle and things like that. But you can shake it off a little bit as we go back to your turn.
Are these memories my memories or its memories?
Yes, your memories. It seems to have assaulted you with bringing up a painful past.
Well, I certainly don't like that. So we're going to, let me think here what we're going to do. All right, Orby, just settle yourself down here and let's just try to have a civil conversation. Clever feint.
Okay. And this is against, if it has sense motive plus 10. Does that sound right?
Same DC as check to feint against the enemy. Also, I'm just going to go ahead and add this just to go ahead and make sure that you can't, because that's a 44 bluff check.
Yeah, so with feint, it's 15 plus 1.5 their CR or 10 plus their sense motive. I think 1.5 their CR is going to be a little higher, but 40 is going to do it. So they are flat-footed. What do you want to do for a standard?
And we're going to, with improved get 'em, we're going to take a non-lethal shot.
Okay, go right ahead.
A non-lethal shot with the Pistola Perihelion. That's a something, because it's -4, but I think it's just a 28 flat with the bonuses and with the negative for non-lethal.
Yeah, that's a hit.
For 15 damage. Non-lethal.
Okay, still points on the board here. It is still up as we get back to you, Rami.
So can I it's a -4 to make it non-lethal?
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
I do have. I'm sorry. Rami is no longer fascinated, but you are still shaken.
Okay, not stirred.
It's not a martini.
Not stirred.
But maybe
that is
after this fight.
-2 to attack rolls as well. So
it'd be -6 if I went for non-lethal.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's do it.
Rami.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Blast them.
There's no way this can come back and haunt me.
Blast 'em.
35.
Yeah, that's a hit.
Yeah, 35 non-lethal.
35 to hit, 35 damage. Okay. It is still up as we go on to its turn. Oh, what hasn't it done yet? As a standard action,
It hasn't given up yet.
it's going to move closer to you guys, and I need you both to make what is this save? Oh, a reflex save. Both make me a reflex save as it spins up and increases its purple luminance, and it gets aggressively bright, and you guys have to make a reflex save or be dazzled and or perhaps blinded. Oh my goodness. Nothing but natural 20s for you guys' saves.
Yes.
Drew, what's yours, Drew?
It's only a 23.
A natural 20 from Myles and a 23 from the excandescent flash. I read that.
Look, I
thought it was
love purple too.
incandescent.
Everybody loves purple. We don't have to be more purple right now.
That is going to be enough to save. So you guys are just dazzled by this brilliant display. Does this really take up its standard action? Yes. So that is its turn as we go back to Gnak.
You took all your turn to make yourself pretty.
I should be throwing out nothing but
mind thrust.
Fourth level mind. Oh, it's only got one per day, so actually no, never mind.
So sorry, I have to refer to my Paizo things to figure out what Dazzled does.
Oh, I have it up here in front of me. It's only a -1 to attack rolls.
Then
So
we gonna be just fine.
and perception checks, yeah.
All right. Dropping my cards. Okay, here we go. So we are going to do another. All right, Sphery, just settle down. I know you like the color purple, but not everybody can be as purple as this rat. Clever feint.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to expertise with that too. I don't know why that rolled twice. So that's a 42 bluff check for feint.
Also a success.
All right, and then of course, get him. And non-lethal with the laser pistol again.
Okay. A -5 in toto. Ooh.
Toot,
natural
toot, kaboom.
Toot. Oh, we're moving on to Myles.
All right,
Rami.
so try some more non-lethal.
All right.
And let's see if this works.
Give me another round. I want another round.
Well, roll 20. There we go.
Kill us in the special episode, Patrick.
I wish. All right, so you've rolled a 9 for 29 total, and that does not include get 'em, but
Get 'em.
You have a -1, 4, 2, 3, 4, -7 plus 2. Right?
Why does he have a -7?
Is he not still shaken?
Oh, I forgot about shaken.
I forgot about shaken too.
Dazzled, non-lethal.
He is not dazzled though because he saved that check.
Yeah, I rolled a natural 20 on that.
Oh no, we were dazzled. We just weren't the other one. Sorry, too many status effects in this book.
No. If you save it, you are good. So I think it says if you fail it by 5 or more, you're blinded. So you're fine for that. So -6.
Oh, so I wasn't dazzled.
23.
I mean, not that it matters for how poorly I rolled. But.
Yeah, and that is a 26 with 25 with a +2 for get 'em.
Yeah,
and it's flat-footed. So yes, that is a hit, and that is going to take us out of combat as the orb falls to the ground. Like, ring wrong.
I imagine it's like. I imagine it's either 2 sound effects. One is just a gigantic glass orb, just like dung, dung, dung. And the other is like just one of those inflatable kickballs, just like bouncing around.
It sounds like, a completely empty school gymnasium with a basketball just slowly bouncing to a resting spot on your hardwood floors here in the chalet. It's a ball that fits in a flippin' basket, Drew. It makes perfect universal sense. After a while, this thing does, kind of come to and begin speaking in your mind, perhaps in like a broken Orbian accent in common, and says, "You have defeated me, but you are still not able to provide the answer. My creator has sent me to warn you."
That's nice. And Rami takes a local like trash can, empties it out, and shoves the orb in there.
Wait,
and then
hang on.
Stop.
It's a warning for some reason. This thing that attacked us is now warning us of something.
And he can warn us from the confines of this trash can because we're going to sell this thing.
Look, I get it, but just let me sense motive on this warning. It's a 38. Do I even need to roll expertise?
It seems to be, now that you can understand it, pretty emphatic that it is trying to convey something to you. It continues on as like, if you continue forward, great calamity shall follow. You must be warned.
If we're trying to be warned, why did you attack us?
I am a luminant, one of few but many, and I must subdue you so you would understand my threat is real.
That I'm going to be real with you. You could just talk to us. Just use the common language. I can teach it to you. I know it. And I have a pretty good ear for languages. Can we spend some time together to figure out what the pronk you're talking about? Pardon my versite, but...
It has been prophesied. That which is hidden shall be revealed. That which is missing shall return. And it that destroys shall emerge once more.
Rami shakes the trash can and says, Stop being cryptic! Stop being cryptic!
Let me talk. Let me talk to this thing. Okay.
He's talking nonsense.
I must speak in secrets. It is my way.
Can you? Is there any check I can roll to get a straight answer from this thing?
Why don't you? I don't think you did it. Do you want to make me a mysticism check? See if you can figure something out about these creatures?
Oh, yeah. Let me do this. I'm lucky that I actually put points in mysticism. 19.
Actually, I guess that is fine. Either of you can also make me a life science. It's actually supposed to be life science for the race. I think mysticism, perhaps figure out what exactly they are.
Where's Alyndra when you need her?
Actually, I don't think she has life science at all. So you guys might be much better.
27?
A 27, I think, will be exactly to figure out indeed these are luminants. This is a collection of sapient purple orbs that are known to be kind of solitary in the universe, and maybe like 100 years ago there was a lot more sightings of them, but they've become less and less seen. I don't know if they're in hiding or if their numbers have dwindled over that time, but yeah, part of their life cycle is clusters of them kind of advancing together and joining up into one large single orb. But yeah, besides that, you don't know too much about this one here. Any other questions for it?
What is hidden that will reveal itself?
A great enemy that will show calamity to all that you know.
I'm going to shake him again.
I wish that this answered the question. We've been through a lot of great enemies. Is it related to the Civ technology that we've been researching?
That which you have been following the path of shall be the source of a great calamity indeed. Each year, my kind vanishes or reforms as we draw closer to the final truth being emitted. One of you shall betray yours before that which you hold dear, as it has been written and as it has been prophesied.
Orb, and I apologize for calling you that. I just don't know your name.
Orb is fine.
Will you come with us so that we may learn more of your prophecies?
I have several, I must warn. I have a very tight schedule to keep. You have been warned, just know that. And if you could sign here to tell my superiors that your warning has been received, I would gladly appreciate that. But I must be going now.
You ain't going nowhere.
No, we will knock you out again before you leave us, Orb. You know it. We can do it. You've watched it happen.
It begins to dematerialize. It doesn't seem like it's something it's doing. It's just like flitting out of experience. It's like, oh, I told you I did not have time here, and you really messed up with the questions you asked. I wish I could have told you more, but you didn't ask some questions. And it indeed just kind of fades away, and you're left with a large, messy suite and Lyda Lantrell in the background, like clicking the record button off, and it's like, I think I got everything I needed here. That was more than great. Thank you, guys. Thank you both so much. And as it pulls out, obviously you get to hear it one last time psychically in your minds, commanding you all to be continued.
Well, Rami,
continue.
This is what happens when you ask the genie for more wishes.
I just don't like orbs, I think. And he just like drops the trash can and like they both go into their suite to relax.
Stupid orbs.
I mean, the more you say you dislike this character, the more times it's going to show up in the AP. Orb is going to be the new Rob Office in the back of your ship, like, Captain, we can't do this. The ship won't hold together.
Oh, so here's the thing: is Rami's irritated. Unlike season 1, where both Rami and Myles hated Rob, Myles is not bothered by the orb. Rami is.
Gotcha.
Rami just doesn't like interlopers, I think.
Makes sense.
Interlope orbs.
Yeah.
Interlope orbs.
There'll be more things that will be explained, but certainly a mystical, magical, giant inflatable ball from maybe elsewhere in the universe, just kind of like showing up in your far out room to give you a warning. Maybe you're on the right track to another crazy adventure, Gnak and Rami. We shall see. That's all I've got for this special episode, guys. Thanks for playing with me.
Thank you.
Have fun explaining this to the other 3 when we play next about what happened. They all get done with their
I'm sure once they hear Myles and Drew had their own episode, they will be wrapped with attention listening to it.
Yeah,
I'm already sharing the MP3 with them so that they'll be prepared for when we record next, which is tomorrow night, and we'll be fine.
Right.
Good times.
I just can't wait for Tyler to be like, "You mean an orb? A purple ball? Talk to you? How did it speak? It's a ball. I don't know."
I'll do single episodes with all 3 of them where they just take this thing out in like one round of combat. It's like it just shows up and they're like, orb attack,
and they'll take it out in one round of combat, but no one will be able to talk to it.
Triple attack. Yeah, well, that's why you guys got the special orb episode. That's gonna do it. Thanks for playing with me, and listeners, thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time on Cosmic Crit.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Listening to Cosmic Crit, an officially licensed partner of Paizo Incorporated. The Starfinder role-playing game and adventure paths are trademarks of Paizo. All Pathfinder and Starfinder images are property of Paizo and are used with permission.